I would argue that every household where the woman is dominant, everybody's vaccinated. And it's a good point because I know quite a bit of it too. But just men's inability to make their own decisions, to have courage.
That's pretty interesting. I never heard that, but now that I think about all the households that are triple vaxxed, that I know at least. Maybe they know it's a woman dominated household. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe the man took her last name and shit. You don't know. We're back. Welcome back, everybody. Couple Casuals Podcast, episode number 27. It feels good to say that I'm your host, Stefano. Welcome back. It's been a fucking minute. There's been a lot going on. A lot of changes, as you could see for the viewers. We're in a new location here, which I'm going to get into shortly. But with everything going on in Canada right now, Liberals destroying Canada, interest rates through the roof, didn't really make sense to have the pod in the condo anymore. So we had to upgrade. We had to shift the momentum and start a new chapter, where we are here today. But just a little update for the viewers on what I've been up to. Obviously, a lot going on, a lot of events, a lot of social gatherings, a lot of outings, a lot of changes, a lot of weddings, a lot of boostas. You know how it is. But it's good to be back. Obviously, in a new location now, which it's fitting to have these fucking lovely boys here who I got in front of me right now, the host of the Money Buys Happiness podcast, and the two bellows of all bellows. That's the best way to put it. Anthony Ernesto,
what's
welcome
up,
back,
baby?
boys.
How you doing, bro?
Salud.
Yes, let's go.
do it.
Let's go.
What an intro, eh? That's a good intro.
That was a heavy one.
Cheers. Salud.
Firstly, how the fuck are you?
Oh man, good.
Yeah, I'm good.
We've been doing great, man. Just same as you. A lot of shit going on. Not many boostas involved, but I mean boostas in different ways.
Different kind of boostas.
We've been sending boostas all over the place, but in different ways. Yeah, no, dude, we've just been good. We've just been back in Toronto. We had just a crazy year of traveling.
100%.
And we're back home now, just getting some fucking work done. Head down and tunnel vision right now.
Which that's kind of where I want to start, boys. I want to kind of like start with, obviously there's been so much going on over the past year. You guys touched on it a bit, but I want to kind of get into it a little bit. Like with MBH, I kind of want to start there.
Yeah.
Like a lot going on in the past year, obviously with just all the pods you guys been ripping, and then with the work that you did with Full Send, and then now that coming to like a conclusion, and then now like this new journey starting with MBH TV, which I want to get into that as well. So maybe just like take us through like the past year. How has it been the past year? Some highlights, some things that you kind of didn't expect that kind of happened. Because at the end of the day, there was a lot of shit that happened in the past year. So I'm excited just even as a viewer or just like a friend to just see like from your guys' perspective, what did you take from it? What did you gather? And like, what are some highlights and things that maybe you didn't anticipate to happen, but it kind of did happen. And now you're in this kind of new realm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure anybody watching this, we've both been on the podcast and spoke about our situation with Nelk and Full Send. So super grateful for what happened. We got signed. We did a year deal with them. And it was awesome. Put us on the map. We got a lot of exposure. We got into rooms with people that I don't want to say we never imagined we'd be there. We knew we would at one point or another, but they just helped us speed up that process.
100%.
So that's pretty cool. And yeah, it was just like on the back end of it, just a lot of traveling, man. We could never stick to plans in terms of like anything, just in reality, family shit or whatever. It was just always like on the go 24/7, LA, New York, Miami, Texas, all over the place.
That's fucking exhausting.
Which was cool. No, listen, like again, not even
it's part of the gig though.
Don't want to complain about it because it was awesome. We got to see and do a lot of crazy things, spend a lot of time in the airport, but it was fun. It was awesome, and we learned a lot about just the business as a whole, and how to grow and what we liked about podcasting, what we didn't like about podcasting, and how the future of the brand would look in a perfect world for us. So yeah, it was awesome, and we just learned a lot about the business, and now we're trying to basically take that and implement it in our newest project. I don't know if I missed anything. I know it's super brief, but
yeah,
No, I don't think so. I think you hit it on the nail. Maybe some highlights.
Yeah.
PBD for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a classic. Yeah.
Having PBD on, but also like visiting his space, like going to his studio, meeting him, meeting his team, the whole experience, not just the episode. VCon was sick.
Yeah, I
VCon
saw those.
was really cool. That was sick.
But even on like the guests too, and I don't know how much you guys want to talk about it,
Yeah.
but I feel like, and we've talked too about it, I feel like you guys put in a lot of the legwork to get those guests.
Yeah.
Which I feel like people don't know that, and that's worth
After-
outlining. Bro.
Yeah, I
After
would
the
say
first 3 months, after the
4
first
months.
2.5, 3 months, every guest from that point on was just us.
I don't think people understand that.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think a lot of people thought.
They look at, okay, obviously you can acknowledge the fact that the notoriety from the collaboration with like MBH and Full Send brings you to a certain like reputation, of course, but at the end of the day, you bring it forward. Like somebody can get you the interview, but you got to get the job kind of thing. And I think you guys did a tremendous job at that.
Thank you.
And then from there, I thought there was a lot of positive like messages, a lot of comments were positive. Everybody was loving the pods and everything like that. And you guys put in the work to attain those guests. So I think that's something to like really bulletproof and really like point out.
Yeah, I think, you know what though, at the same time, like I have to give credit to Full Send for, especially like I said, in the first couple months, putting, like trusting us to go in and get these interviews done. Like,
100%.
going to Dave Grutman's home, setting that up for us and putting us in this space. They weren't there. It was me, Ernesto, and the team. And we walk in, and again, we're not used to being in rooms with people like that, straight up. We've been in rooms with lots of people at that point, but never to that, extent in terms of like how big or important and powerful, Dave Grutman is. So we walked in and they trusted us to do that, which was pretty cool to see. And you learn a lot, and you learn a lot in those moments because you also have no idea what to expect. And these people are very big energy, high energy. They have a very strong aura and they move a certain way. So you learn a lot like that. So, we learned a lot in those first few months. And then, we pretty much took that because we'd leave those interviews. Like we left the Dave Grutman interview. I'll never forget just being like, holy fuck. Like, no, like it was almost like,
Did you guys get jitters? Did you guys ever get jitters and shit?
Yeah, of course,
100%.
bro.
How'd you deal with that? What do you do? What do you do to deal with the
Brother,
jitters?
it's just, you just have, like, what are you going to do?
At the
Back
end of the day,
out?
you gotta
Like,
ride it out.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
If you watch the Dave Grutman interview, me especially, I think that was probably my worst interview I've ever done. I barely said a word. I was nervous as fuck just because he's somebody that I look up to. Like,
Then how much stronger do you feel when you come through that?
well, that was the
You
thing.
use that as, like,
That's what I'm saying. When we would leave and we'd walk out of the interview and we'd be like, now we take the elevator down from the condo and we walk out.
Let's go.
Yeah, you're just like, holy fuck. I know that wasn't my best, but I still did it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we learned a lot in those moments. I think that's just in life in general, right? Like you got to put yourself in these uncomfortable situations. And
Yes.
so that happened to us a lot. And then
Yes.
obviously as time goes on, you start to realize like, hey, they're also just humans as well. Like
They are.
as famous or as powerful as they may be, like they're also just humans. So if you know how to interact with humans generally, you should be able to get by.
And a lot of the times with the convos, I feel is like it always is just getting those first little bit out.
Yeah.
And then when you get then the flow comes and then you just have a good time and then you are just talking to another human.
Yeah.
You're
Takes
just fucking
takes
having
like
a chat.
5-10 minutes to get
It
warm.
does. It's really just that's what I felt from podcasting is like that first little bit. Then you fucking hammer it off and then you guys are just having a conversation at the end of the day. That's what it is.
But yeah, a ton of highlights, man. And like
Ton of highlights,
we,
for
we,
sure.
we always go back. I'll like, Patrick Bet David, man, just like that guy for us was like, when we locked that in, like the celebration we had locking it in was absolutely insane. Because we were just like, we can't believe this is really happening. And it was so crazy. Like that day, I don't think we've ever told this story. We like showed up to Valuetainment and like his team, his team showed up late. We're at the front door. It's locked. No one's answering. Like we almost thought like, oh my God, this interview may not happen. We're in the
Jay, you didn't have that on video?
We do. We're in the pouring rain. Like we haven't shown it, but like, we record everything as you know.
Yeah.
Like even just on the back end. And yeah, Dean, you were there too. We were just like, bro, oh my God, like this guy that we celebrated flew all the way to Florida for, like we may not even get this done. Yeah. So it's like, you have this high of showing up, then you have this low of like, oh my God, this isn't going to happen. And then, and that feeling's there for like 20, 30 minutes because we're not getting an answer. No one's answering us. And then all of a sudden it's like, door opens. Okay, let's go. And then all of a sudden you have to switch back on to being like high energy again. And you're sitting with this guy. Don't get me wrong. He makes the interview very easy because he's just a fucking beauty. He's a great
I
talker.
heard he's very personable, very nice, kind guy, warm.
So it's just these things, I guess, on the back end that like people will never see.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully one day we put out a crazy long documentary style video showing all this stuff or something. But just so many different
They'll
things.
never feel that feeling though, like that pre-angst, like waiting, anticipating for like a conversation like that. But then through that uncomfortability, you fucking grow so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So now it's just like whatever, put anybody in front of us.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
At this
right?
point.
But even like through that past year, like obviously you guys are in a collective effort. It's a collaboration. Is there anything that you guys maybe learned about each other that you're like, oh, he's a big dog here now, or he pushed through this more than I thought? Like even just amongst you guys working together, is there something that sticks out that we learned about ourselves and then each other?
Yeah. I think it's not so much something that I learned, but I'm super proud of him, to be honest, because
for sure.
what we had to do in the last 3-4 years is like we can't even do a documentary about it. No one will believe us. You know,
You got some artillery. You got some stuff in the bank,
100%,
right?
but I think a lot of people like Ann said, they don't see the back end and the kind of stuff that happens behind the scenes. So, and I don't think a lot of people know that this, like, he's much younger than me. He's 3-4 years younger than me. So
Yeah, people. I didn't.
so
even
people
really
will
think
just
that.
assume that we're the same age or he's my age, right? But he's a young gun. So for him to be able to do what he did too in the last 3-4 years, like it's super impressive to me, and it gets me fired up to keep going, right? Because I'm older than him. So for me to look down to him and be like, oh fuck, he's going at it, I gotta even step up my game, right? So I wouldn't say I learned anything really about him because I feel like I knew him very well already. But I think we were both like surprised at us getting it done up until now, but also like, yeah, I'm just proud of what he did, to be honest, because
love
he's
that,
been
bro.
able to push me too.
I mean, yeah, and on the flip side, thanks, bro. First of all, but
We're gonna give each other our flowers today. That's what we're doing.
But
here.
on the flip side, like, yeah, I mean, the thing is, everything, like, as much as the last year surprised me in just the way that we maneuvered it and handled it, I also wasn't surprised because we had been doing business together, you know, with Neighborhood for, like, you know, 3-4 years prior. And yeah, like I say this in maybe in private to a lot of like people that I love, my family, my friends or whatever. Like, I would be nowhere close to where I am today if it wasn't for this guy, in the sense that, like, I've learned so much about not just hard work, like the cliche stuff, just like how to get things done, how to prioritize your time, how to make sure, like, you know who to work with, why you should work with them, and then also standing your ground and stuff like that, knowing when, like, you got to get tough a little bit and things like that. And so, yeah, the last year just showed me that, like he's the kind of guy, he's like, where we were always different, I found, was he was like, I don't give a fuck who you are, how much money you have, how famous you are. Like, we move how we move, you know? And that's everything from, like, the way that we maybe spoke to, like, the network that we were with, all the way down to, like, guests or people that we worked with or whatever. Like, this guy went in with the attitude of, like, I don't give a fuck, you know? And I learned a lot. I learned a lot that way, because I've always been the guy, like, make everyone happy. Let's try to find a situation that makes everyone happy. But sometimes it can't be like that, you know?
Especially in business, right?
Especially in business. So I learned a lot like that. But I think, yeah, this man, like, I learn from this guy every day. You know, the beauty is this guy's ever changing and he's always working on himself. And so that pushes me to do the same thing, right? As much as we're partners and we're equal on every front from percentages or whatever, like, I still look up to him like my older brother, you know? So when I see how hard he goes, vice versa, I'm like, yeah, I need to be moving like him at all times, you know? And this guy goes hard, bro. Like, as much as he wants to say I go hard, like, no, he goes hard, dude. And like, and where we, from a business perspective, I think that we work well, and the reason that we have worked well until this point is maybe I'm more on the creative side, and I'm sort of like, I like to think like I'm the dreamer, like I'm the visionary. I'm like, dude, this is where we can take it. And then I got to convince him, get him on board. He's usually on board pretty quickly. And then once he's on board, this guy's the guy that goes into the back end and like does the dirty work, bro. Like, builds out the processes, gets the team involved, gets everything going. Like, he pretty much, like, I'm like, yo, that's the engine we need. And then he's like, okay, bet. Yeah, I agree. And then he builds the engine, like, from scratch, you know,
it's
like,
perfect yin and yang.
It's crazy because I've never seen it done before. Like, it's funny. We're having a conversation the other day with a future partner of ours, or potential partner. And I'm like, dude, like, I've watched this guy create job roles out of thin air, like a job role that's never been created before. So for example, like, a company, oh, okay, you need an HR person, or you need an account manager or whatever. It's like, yeah, those are all pretty standard roles in business that you can probably find templates for on the internet or by asking people that you know that are in a similar business or whatever. I'm like, yo, Noosh, we need like this type of person, and they kind of got to do this, this, and that. Bro, I give this guy 45 minutes. He comes back. He's like, yo, look over this job role. I'm like, how did
What was the job role?
No, it's just been anything.
It's always changing, right? Like our team is not the jobs that our team has are not standard jobs.
They're unorthodox.
Yeah.
And we're in a new industry too, right? Like podcasting.
Yeah.
Even
It's a creative
digital,
space. I feel like
even
that's how it should
digital
be.
marketing, right? So it's a lot of shit people never done before.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
So
they
this
don't-
guy,
they
give him
don't teach
45
you.
minutes. Give this guy 45 fucking minutes. And
Couple
he
of spros and you're good.
Literally.
no, it's crazy, bro. But it's like, it's like at a level of like, it's like robotic. Like the guy moves like a machine, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's fucked up. Like it's actually fucked. That's a part people will never see. Right. And I'm like, bro, it's just so impressive.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
But for real. But and listen, the beauty of it is that when we created Neighborhood almost 5 years ago, he wasn't moving like that. But it's like you see the growth.
You
So
kind
it's
of planted the seed for it too. Like, yo, you got to start charging people for this kind of thing.
100%. But you see the growth. But even just you see the growth in these little things, and you go, yeah, like that's my fucking dog. Like that's the guy I want to be partnered with for the rest of my life because I'm seeing him grow. Like I see that he's not just stuck in one position and just operating at this level. It's consistent growth. Maybe some years it's higher growth than others, but as long as it's a trend upwards, right?
And
so
then that rubs off on you.
Well, but the thing is, it rubs off on me, but it rubs off on the team.
Exactly.
Right? Like
100%.
everybody.
Yeah.
But he is like the leader in that sense. And I've told this story maybe on another podcast, but like I remember early on in the Neighborhood days, and we were in fucking Portugal, all sauced. Just me and this guy, I'm having like a heart to heart with him. I'm like, dude, listen. At that time, I was like, bro, I don't care to be the face. Like, if you got to be the face of this company and that's going to get us further, beautiful. Like, I have no ego towards it. Like, go and run with it. I will support every way in the back end, but like, do it. And this guy took it and ran. And eventually, yeah, I made my way up slowly to also be similar. I still wouldn't say I'm side by side with him in terms of like the face of it, but regardless, like he took it and ran with it. And I think that's a testament to like, you got to believe in each other. Like 100%. If you have a business partner, yeah, you're not going to agree on everything. You will have debates and this and that, but like you got to trust each person to do what they do best and put them in the position to say, okay, cool. If you're that guy, I trust you there. Yeah, I may have some opinions about it and then we can talk about it, but like you got to be like, okay, that's that you're handling processes, this and operations and that, boom. Okay. You're doing creative, this and that. Cool. Okay. And it's like, there's got to be trust.
Yes.
Right.
That's how the team works properly, by everybody filling in what they thrive in, what they're good at.
Yeah. And sometimes you got to just take a risk. Sometimes he says things and vice versa, where I'm like, even after a debate, I'm like, I still don't necessarily agree with it 100%. But I trust you, bro.
Yes.
So run with it. Yes. Let's go. Yeah. I'm going to support it regardless.
You guys complement each other well, and I think that's probably why people think you guys are brothers a lot.
Yeah.
You guys get that a lot? You guys get that a lot?
Yeah, we had Alpha King, Neva. He's like, you guys brothers? Yeah.
Usually when someone meets us for the first time, they'll say
They go, you guys brothers? We're like, no. Cousins? No.
Paisans?
I go, we're just both Italian. They go, oh, okay. Makes sense.
We have to remember how much time we spent together too, you know?
Yeah. Literally, it's like a fratello bello.
Yeah. No, at this point, at this point.
For years too.
That's amazing. It's good to hear that story and everything. And then obviously from everything that happened over the past year, as of recently, you guys launched MBH TV, which I kind of want to get a little in depth about what the plan is for that. How did that come about? And what's the idea behind it?
Yeah, that's been cooking, I'd say 3 years now.
Oh, you've been cooking that, eh?
Yeah. But like slow roasting, bro.
Yeah. When we say cooking, it's like he'll just say it out loud.
Yeah. And the name, everything was there. MBH TV, that's the vision.
Not the name.
Not the name, but the network was there. He mentioned it, and then that was like the first manifestation of it.
Okay.
When he mentioned it to me, yeah. And I was like, to be honest, at that point, I couldn't even think that far ahead, you know? But then going back to what he just said, right? Like he looks at our future and he tries to see different paths that we can take, even if it's in 2-3 years from now, you know?
Do you operate like that, or Ernesto? Like you got to focus on the immediate future, or do you think long term?
I mean, I think short and long term. I think I'm more concerned about short term vision, and he's more like looking at long term and saying, okay, like in 3 years, if we can do this, or he's looking at trends and stuff, right? And he has his finger on the pulse when it comes to
100%.
You know, knowing content and knowing different channels and stuff like that. So I wasn't even thinking about that at all. So the fact that he said it, and then he said it again, and then probably in a couple months he probably said it again. That's what starts it. And he knows how I am too. He's probably gonna have to say something to me like 3 times for me to understand. You know, like for me to be like, wait, did he say that again? Okay, this makes sense. Like we want to move in that direction. So yeah, 3 years ago. But go on.
Yeah, no, it was 2020, and we were in front of this office, just smoking a Canon, And this was at the point I think we like our show was doing like whatever numbers, and we had started Price to Sell with Matt and Poli. And then I was just like, dude, I think there's an opportunity to be like a network in Canada, like the bar. I literally said word for word the Barstool.
You remember when you came on my pod? I looked at Neighborhood Creative as like the Barstool of Canada.
Yeah, we spoke about that.
We spoke about it. That's the way I interpret it.
And that was what 2021 probably.
That was probably around there.
Or pandemic, right?
early.
It was like pandemic,
or early 20. So it was at that point. But I had said it to him. But it was just like, yeah, that's how our concepts always start. It's always like, yo, I think we could do this, and it's always that long term vision. Then it takes a couple times, and then this guy comes in and says, okay, this is how we're going to get it done. And I just say, yep, that looks good. Let's do it. So yeah, we talked about it 3 years ago, and then, whatever, obviously our show took a turn. We started, we do the deal, whatever, we do all that. So there's obviously no time in that crazy year to get it done. And then, yeah, we kind of mentioned it on our episode about, why we left Nelk or whatever. And yeah, it was January of this year. I re-brought the idea back, and I was like, hey, we know where this deal's going. So we got to start thinking now about what we're doing post this deal. So our options are we just keep running the show and try to do it to the best of our ability, or we take advantage of that idea that we had 3 years ago. And
has any of those guys reached out to you since you guys dropped that?
No.
They're still like ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, but
we're not waiting on nothing.
Exactly. But what do you?
Yeah, no, but yeah, we don't expect it. Like
you use what is useful, discard as
cool.
not. You're on to the next.
I'm sure.
I'm just genuinely surprised, to be honest with you, because I saw the trajectory in the numbers and like how good you guys were doing. I don't understand why they would do that, but besides the point. Anyways, I was just curious to see if they kind of chimed in or wished you good luck or anything.
No, you still get like likes on a story or whatever. Yeah. It's like it's stuff like that, but it's not like a direct reach out. But yeah, anyways, and then I re-brought the idea back, but I brought it back with a different twist. So I brought back the like, yo, let's do the network, but let's get an investor. Oh, like okay. I'm tired of like fucking bootstrapping and using our own money. Like I'm seeing all these fucking losers get funded. We raised $1 million for this fucking shit idea. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, bro, we have we have like a crazy resume. Yeah. And like B, we have an idea that's profitable from day one. Like, how can we not get funding for it?
Right.
Now, where we butted heads a bit was on at that point of the funding point was he was like, why don't we start it on our own, build it up, and then we can go get a higher valuation. Okay. Like, cause then we'll have some numbers to show, we'll have some stuff to show, we can get a higher valuation. And then, yeah, I was just like, dude, I don't know. I think we can get a high valuation even without doing that. Like MBH is enough of a
100%,
a breakdown of like what the numbers can do, how much money you can make and whatever. And so we went back and forth on that for a while. And then, yeah, I don't know. It was just one call. I was driving to the office. He calls me. He's like, okay, bro, like, let's fucking do this. And I was like, you say yes, I'm going to turn on the jets and start reaching out to everybody that I think would be interested in funding this project. And then I think it might've been maybe 3 weeks from him saying, okay, let's get a partner. 3 weeks later, we're funded.
It was locked in. See,
so
I can see how that happens. Like, look at the past year and how much you guys have accomplished and how many guests and the good job that you're doing. Why would not somebody believe in the message? Why wouldn't they believe in it?
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it was. It's such a beautiful business model. Like different shows, different audiences, different verticals. Each show has, 5 different ways to make money, 6 different ways to make money. So yeah, it's a long-term play in terms of like the way we're doing it, where majority of the shows we're starting are with creators that don't have a background, that don't have an audience. So we're really putting trust in them and going to try and help them start from nothing. Whereas like other networks go out and they sign these big people. Yeah. We're doing it a more organic way. We're going to build people up that we think could get the job done. So it's a little bit longer term, but once you build up, man, if you have 5 shows doing MBH numbers, you have a fucking great business.
And then you build from there.
And you keep going, right?
And I don't know anybody, like where else in Toronto, let's say, because you guys know the city well, where else are they having a host for talent or something like that? I don't know.
There's nowhere.
There's none.
Because even before I was talking to you, Ernesto, when I was looking for a space, I was looking at some of these spaces. They're not very, like I went to one, the guy's washing his car outside with no shirt on and shit. Like it wasn't very, there's a bunch of guys listening to rapping at the top balcony.
We're behind here. They don't value podcasting here.
They look at it as an opportunity to make money, which fair enough. There is an opportunity
to make money, but you have to go.
You have to go. Like you guys actually have experience and creative input.
To have no following and start a podcast and think you're gonna make money.
Yeah, it's
what are you
good.
doing on the pod that you're gonna blow out? Like, what you got to be
Yeah.
doing some crazy fuckery.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
But yeah, that's why we saw the opportunity, right? And then it just made so much sense where the past year we saw No Jumper, right? We went to No Jumper studio. We saw what happens there at a network. We went to Valuetainment. We saw what happens at a network. We saw what it looks like. We went to Full Send headquarters. So I think those were like little aspects and points of the last 12 months where, you know, maybe that it reignited what he was already thinking, you know?
Right.
Where he's like, oh, fuck, like this. And we're looking at the people too, you know, and there's no disrespect to anyone out there that has a network, but like, we look at some of these guys, we're like, yo, we can do it.
I know, exactly. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
You
I'm
could
just
say that humbly.
100%.
And be like, yo, you
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
in
of
yourself.
course, of
Like, yo,
course.
if buddy can do it, I think I got it.
So I think we had a lot of those moments where we saw other people doing something and we're like, wait, if they're doing that, we should be at a whole other level.
Yes.
So I think by the time we started realizing that the deal was not going to be renewed, which was like halfway through the deal probably,
Yeah,
you know?
Earlier, but yeah.
Like, yeah, even earlier. That's when, you know, he brought it up again and we started to get the ball rolling.
And I actually want to make one point.
Yeah.
I read this comment the other day. Someone commented on the video, like why we left Nelk, the video we put up. And they're like, it sounds like you guys didn't try to like fix the communication.
Yeah. I saw
So
that.
maybe that's why it didn't happen. So I'll just make this clear. Not that I owe anything to this random guy who commented that, but for anybody who may have been thinking that, we tried many times. Like I have receipts. It's not about me pulling up receipts. I don't care to do that. We have many receipts of like, guys, like the communication's horrible here. Voice notes, all these different things. And it was just never fixed. Right. And so there's only so much like, you got to have fucking dignity. You're not like, I'm not begging anybody to talk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try and fix things and try and like see what we can do. And it was always like, you know the guys we are. Like, bro, if there's something that we're not doing enough of or we're not, like you need us to do more or whatever,
Yeah.
you just say the word.
100%.
We're the kind of guys that'll get it done. And those exact words were said many times. Guys, if we're not doing enough, which by the way, we were doing more than we were asked. But
And
like, let's just...
everything was positive. I saw the comments. I followed the
Everything.
trend.
But I'm
was
just
positive.
saying, like, for anybody who thought, oh, well, you guys didn't try 3 months in, you already knew it was done. It was like, no, 3 months in is because not only did we lose communication, but we tried to fix it.
Right.
And it was just from one end, it was just not coming back. Again, no hard feelings.
Exactly.
We didn't bitch about it.
I thought you guys dealt with it tremendously, and big applause to that. I saw the pod. I watched a good bit of the pod, and I saw how humble and like grateful at the same time, and
You
then
have to be.
optimistic to what's going to happen in the future.
But
for
you
the
have
years.
to be.
And-
Like
and
I
it's
said,
a great way to deal with it.
Bro, at the end of the day, if like this is just life in general. Like if things don't work out the way
It's
you
all
want
good.
them to, bro, you got to just look at what was positive about it. And that's how we always looked at it. That's what I'm saying. We never shit on these guys. The fact that they even put us on was it was an amazing thing.
Yes.
Like it changed our lives, truthfully. So
Yeah,
it was like,
yeah.
yeah, we're not hating on it. We're just actually giving the honest truth. This is how it went down, but all good. Bro, thank you. You know,
100%.
thank you to them. And that's,
Gratitude is
but it's just,
important.
you know, whatever. Obviously, you know how it goes. The YouTube comments and shit, people have their opinions. So I just want to clear that
But I
up.
thought there was an overwhelming, even like positive. I saw somebody say that too, like, oh, you guys are dealing with this. You guys are like with everything that's going on. You're very humble in the transition and very like grateful in the transition.
How else are you gonna
Which is
be?
a big part of being a man, which I want to talk about masculinity with you guys too. It's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a fun conversation. But just lastly on MBH TV, is it just a host for talent, or also I see you guys posting like news and stuff that's been going on too? So it's a combination of the both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea was in building this network that we would also like create an Instagram account that was almost like a culture hub. So right now you're seeing it post like news, very like 6 Buzz Real Toronto news
Yeah, just
style.
like the conservative
We're
6 Buzz?
testing it out. Not to say that it's going to stay exactly like that, but the beauty of it, which this is the part I love about being like at day one with a project, is you get to test things out. And there's no pressure to have to like hit it on the head first time. So we're testing out that idea. But we may in a week say, you know what, let's try this route actually. So we're basically with the MBH TV Instagram account, we're just trying to make it a place where right now we're just testing out and putting like news and random shit out and just seeing what works and what doesn't.
Like shareable items and stuff. And then you can, at the end of the day, it's your account. You could post fucking content on there. You could
We're
post,
going to promote all our shows.
promote
right?
your shows.
That's pretty much it.
clips from here if you want to put clips from here. It's up to you.
Imagine like if 6 Buzz had their own content series, and they would just slide them in.
Yeah.
Every like 3-4 posts.
Or even whatever, even
Yeah.
every 20 posts,
Yeah.
whenever it made sense. They just slid in clips from their own podcasts or shows or whatever.
Well, 6 Plus is always putting on those like absolute trash rappers and stuff. So like,
Oh,
Well, they
love
get
that.
paid. They get paid.
Yeah.
They get paid. They get paid.
They
for
get paid
that.
for
Yeah,
that.
You could tell. Come on.
Yeah, you could tell.
They didn't find that music.
Is this
it's on their
trash?
own.
What are your all thoughts on this?
Yo,
Like,
Or,
Bro-
or they say like pick the best video and it's like seven randoms and then a Drake video.
yeah, like, okay, we know who won that one. Bro.
Come on.
So,
So yeah,
anyways,
just another aspect of marketing for the whole network. I think.
Yeah.
Would be the
Another funnel.
IG account. Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys touched on like these alternative sources of media and like the opportunities to make money on it. And I want to get your guys' opinion on it because obviously you're in that realm.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see these avenues and these, like, now Twitter has X. You know, you see a guy like Tucker Carlson who from mainstream media is now got fired from Fox News, which is a conservative platform, which is surprising, but you see even they're going corporate or whatever it is. So then he's on X now, formerly known as Twitter, and the numbers are going fucking crazy, and the opportunities are crazy on there because now with Elon Musk, everything's opening up, the forum's opening up. We talked about Snapchat and how much money. So I want to get your guys' opinion on, like, just for creators out there and for people to know, like, there is opportunity to make some cash on these accounts, on these platforms. So like, what was your guys' opinion? If you want to share like some, I don't even have to share figures, but like an idea for people, like how much like you guys maybe even like dabbled with or whatever it may be.
Well, listen, you can make money on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can make money on Snapchat, right? Which is a new one.
I think is that the biggest one?
They're paying the highest right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, not
They're
even a
paying more than
question.
any other platform right now, just because they're trying to kickstart their path back to being, let's say, as big as an IG, as big as a TikTok, or big as a YouTube, right? So they're starting to implement now a feed where you have your own feed like an IG. It's called Spotlight. So Snapchat's super interesting. Merch, obviously, if you have merchandise, you can sell. This is going to go into the point that you just have to focus on your core community, your core audience.
Yes.
That's the main thing I think that we learned. I mean, we don't even sell that many products. We're going to get the merch going again, right? That's just because we haven't done it in a year. Then it's going to be consistent. I think that, yeah, if you're trying to make money off the bat, like even Snapchat, for example, you have to have big numbers.
Yeah, in order to get
You have
like,
to have a
signed or pull
following,
up in
right?
there,
So if we're talking about a brand new podcast, you got to just focus on your core community, because even if it's 100 people, they'll buy something off you. They'll buy something off you.
Yeah.
You have to be genuine. Like you are on your podcast, right? And how many people are super loyal to your podcast because they know you're being real?
Yeah. I think people appreciate genuinity. They appreciate.
So before someone
authenticity.
even thinks about the money, I would just say, just make sure you're doing something that you're not faking.
Yeah.
And that you actually care about your community. Even if it's 7 people watching, you make sure you talk to all 7 of those people.
Yeah. So
That's
these
what-
platforms pay though. At the end of the day, there is
listen,
opportunity.
There's
to make some money.
opportunity, and then not even get into sponsors, right? And if you're, let's say, you're a female, for example, then you're gonna make a lot of money off sponsorship, more than a male would. And if you're a good-looking female, you're gonna make even more.
They're just
And if
brand
you're a
friendly.
good-looking female with a platform, you're gonna make even more. So like, and if you're a dude, then yeah, you're gonna have to be super real with your content, because it's hard. It's hard now. I'm not gonna say it's easy to make money off our even off our audience and our platforms. We make money, but dude, it's nothing like, wow,
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
guys are fucking millionaires, you know? It's like, no, we make enough so that we can have a team, we can have a studio, we could travel.
Which is still tremendous if you think about it. Like that's
Of course.
that's a gift. It's a beautiful.
100%, right? But for sponsors, for example, we're not really like partner friendly, sponsor friendly. Like there's like,
because you guys are not
you're
cocks.
either a casino or you're like a casino or Manscaped.
Yeah.
That's who's gonna
Manscaped
come
is
to-
hard on the advertisements.
Yeah,
They fucking
they go hard,
bro.
right?
Holy fuck.
There are ways, right? There
Yeah.
are many ways that you can monetize. The best thing you could do is like have a podcast that's complementary to your business.
Yeah.
Then you're not
Like
relying
price
on,
to sell.
It's facts.
right? When you have that, or let's say you look at Nick Regina, for example, right?
Yeah,
Nick
yeah.
Regina, he's in real estate, he's in mortgages,
Yeah.
but he has his own podcast. Now, is he trying to make money off the podcast? No. He's trying to use that to elevate the business,
It's like
bring
a
people
marketing
through the
thing,
door. Zohab was doing the same thing with It's Simple.
Yep.
So when you start a podcast, it doesn't necessarily need to be a moneymaker, because it can make you money in other ways. That's the way to look at it, right? Like,
Even half of the clients that neighborhood has, literally, I'd say 50 to 60% of the clients neighborhood has
Right.
came from Money Buys Happiness.
Yeah.
So we're out here talking about crazy shit.
But people appreciate it.
of course.
Well, but
They
it's
connect
even
with it.
just, it's the whole fact of like, okay, regardless of if they agree with the things we say, they're like, these guys are consistent. They work hard. The production value is amazing. So now if I want to start a podcast, I'm looking for an agency that does content or social media manager, whatever. We're the perfect like resume. We are the portfolio. So people go, fuck, who does their shit? Their own agency. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Let me reach out. You know, so
Yeah, even our pod didn't make money for 2 years. So that means for 2 years we were spending money on the podcast. Now there had to be some sort of return that we were seeing, and that's what we were seeing. That neighborhood was growing,
Right.
From the podcast.
It coincides.
right?
It all is linked,
of course,
yeah.
but we set it up that way. They have to walk through those doors. They see the big T-shirt. They see the office. They're gonna ask us what this place is. They're gonna ask us what we do. And I think at the beginning that was we didn't care about making money off the pod because first of all we knew we really enjoyed it and we were growing slowly, but we saw the return on neighborhood side where it's like, oh hey, that guest you just had, he's now a client. All right, that works for me too.
You guys are in people's faces all the time, so they go, I recognize the studio, even like the bricks, everything is authentic.
But not everyone's gonna have a podcast that gets that gold plaque.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just not. It's just what it is.
But the optimism there is that there is opportunity for it. If people want to start creating stuff, you can get there.
You can
with
for sure get there.
consistency and everything like
You
that.
can for sure
you
get
really,
there.
You really can.
You're gonna
It's
have to
there.
go super hard.
And I do think that podcasting in this realm will be the future, which
It
I
is.
kind of want to get into next.
Yeah.
Because you look at everything that's happening with like the mainstream media and with just the censorship, especially in Canada, all these things, and they can still do it with the podcast, but there's alternative sources. But I think it's still, even though it's a little bit saturated, and there's a lot of people that have pods, only some of them firstly last. But long term, I think it's going to be like a real avenue that people get their knowledge from, where people tune into. More people are going to get onto podcasts. It's going to be readily available. It's really in the early stage. I think it's really going to grow tremendously over the next decade.
It's an interesting time because I think what people are doing right now is they're picking their people. They're picking their platforms that they like.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was growing up, I remember my mom every morning she would watch breakfast television. Every morning. It's on the TV. Right? Now people are going home or they're waking up in the morning and they're watching PBD.
Yeah, exactly. I am.
Right? A lot of people
on the way to work, whatever. Exactly.
Right?
And more people will.
So people are kind of choosing. There's going to be like the next 5-10 years where people are choosing their next Fox, their CNN, the trust that they have, that they had with those platforms at that point. Who's going to be the new ones that take that trust, right? And you're seeing them. You're seeing Valuetainment. You're seeing Daily Wire.
Yeah.
Seeing even Rebel News here, on a smaller scale, obviously. But Candace Owens, like you see all these people with their diehard community. Right? That's just going to keep growing as people start to leave these other platforms and say, you know what? I'm not watching Fox anymore.
Yeah,
you know what? I'm not watching this anymore. Right? They're going to pick their new platform. And of course, it's the new media.
It's happening right now. It's only going to grow.
Yeah.
Like we're just at the beginning, I think, of what is going to be like a complete takeover of how people intake information and what they tune into. I don't think news is going to be so.
Look at this
What
now.
you guys are setting up long term is going to be tremendous.
Check this out now. If you're a young Canadian and you're on your phone, you don't even know about CP24. If you're 13, 14 years old, you don't even know about them.
you can't see it.
You can't see it. You can't see.
Yeah, which I want to talk about.
You can't see global news.
Yeah.
So all of a
Post-millennial,
sudden, that's not even an option to them anymore. They're already like, okay, but who's going to be my news?
Yeah.
So now if you ask a lot of people where they get their news, they're going to say Six Buzz.
Yeah, no, facts.
How many people say that?
Because they're posting what's
Oh, I saw that.
relevant.
You saw that on Six Buzz. You saw that. Oh yeah, cool.
I saw this on Six. I saw this thing happen today on Six Buzz.
Yeah, it's tweets,
But
bro.
it's like it's kind of crazy because like it's almost backfiring on Trudeau and like his government, because it's like you blocked all the mainstream media. Perfect. Those were the propaganda machines anyways.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So now
when I
you're
seen that.
forcing people to find alternative methods, not people, because older people still watch the news on TV. But let's say our generation and Gen Z, the younger ones, like he said, they can't even see CP24 on Instagram. No, like I was saying,
Yeah.
I think Trudeau's fucking plan is going to backfire on him because you're blocking Gen Z from seeing the mainstream media, so they're going to look elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, what did he block the specific, or he had a deal that with Google?
No. Basically, he pulled a little scheme. So he played it off as like, we want Google, Meta, and all these guys
to pay their fair share.
The
Classic thing to say.
to pay the networks in order for them to be like. So, for example, he wants Instagram, Meta, to pay CP24,
CBC.
to pay CBC, whatever their fair amount of money is, and then they will let people see their accounts. bro, you think Meta gives a fuck about CBC?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like.
They're like, bro, fuck.
How small
But
is the
he
Canada
knew that.
market
He
anyway?
knew that.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so he
yeah.
did it. He played it like that. Oh, we're trying to get more money for our networks. First of all, you pay them all. You fund all of them. You fucking loser. Second of all, it was a whole scheme to be like, oh, we
Smoke
want
and
them to
mirrors.
pay, and if they don't pay, we're not gonna let people see it in Canada.
Yeah.
It's like that's called censorship, you fucking loser.
Yes.
Under the guise of like, oh, we're trying to get more money.
It's always, isn't that always what it is? It's like,
Yeah.
it's under the guise of virtue. It's like, we're doing
Yeah.
a good thing, but underneath it's really,
Every time.
So,
that.
but the thing is, it's backfiring because, like we said, all of a sudden, Gen Z, the next generation,
yeah.
first is saying, wait, why are you? Because they're not looking that deep. They're just saying, yo, why are you blocking the news?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Let me go to this network now and get my news from them. 9 times out of 10, all the alternative news networks don't like Trudeau or think he's a fucking demon, which he is. So then it's like, okay, cool. Now all of a sudden, all these kids are growing up to not like you.
Yeah. Well, you saw that in the opinion in the polls, right? The polls reflect. Have you seen like the amongst?
no.
I don't know how accurate they are, but like amongst young people, the voter support for Liberals is tremendously down.
Yeah.
And the Conservatives is way
Well,
up.
it should be.
And that's a result of that.
But so I'm saying, so it's going backwards. So then, yeah, exactly. Like we're saying, Six Buzz or any of these new independent media networks that want to come out and speak, they get a head start. They have no competition, at least online, from any of these bigger guys. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, censorship is a problem, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about. Are you guys concerned a little bit about censorship with MBH TV or with yourselves? Do you think is there any fear? I know you asked you this before, Anthony, but like just to get your guys' opinion on it too. Do you think about like getting canceled or any of that shit? Does that ever cross your mind?
I always make a joke. Like I always make a joke like we've been trying to get canceled forever. So
What's bad about being canceled though?
you end up blowing up more.
right?
So it's like
See, that's all about perspective.
Especially when they try to cancel you for something stupid.
yeah,
Or something that's
It's almost
just
even
logical
better.
and everyone knows.
Yeah.
You know? Look when they try to cancel Tate. Like Tate, they canceled him like you know,
To the point of-
transactionally. Like he didn't have any apps. He couldn't go on any platform. Still his name grew.
I
Well,
think
he's on
long
X.
term it actually serves him better.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Right?
Yeah.
He just has a bigger platform now. You see he changed his messaging a bit too, like the way he talks and the
I think
things
it's
he's
better
saying.
the way he's doing right now.
Oh, he's doing.
It's
he's
still
doing a
the
great
same
job. But he
message.
needed to learn
It's
too.
created,
He needed
yeah.
to learn too, right? Like he was that viral type content. Yeah, that was like when he was on his way up. But then he learned, wow, I actually have like a huge amount of young men following me. So the way he's moving now, to me, is completely fine. I don't think he said anything crazy
yeah.
as of late.
The message is still the same.
The message is the same, but he cleaned up the way he says
Exactly.
it.
It's curated.
It's created.
better.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with that? Like
Yep.
at the end of the day, the viewership is grown tremendously. Still the same message.
I mean,
Still
and
the
look, he's
same
on
guy.
X. He's on X.
Yeah.
All his fucking tweets get millions of views.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck. He goes live streams on Kick or Twitch or wherever the hell he's live streaming. His millions of viewers.
Once
Like,
you're that big, you go to any platform you want.
Hey,
They're
that's-
gonna
it doesn't even
come.
matter. It
Your
doesn't even,
people
or
will
it's
come with you.
Rumble. He's on Rumble, whatever.
He's got the numbers,
So
right.
he's yeah.
And
he
now a
doesn't
lot
give
of guys
shit.
doing both, right? I know Russell Brand, he's doing some content on YouTube, and then the episode goes another 20 minutes, and then that part's on Rumble.
They've been doing that, though,
Right? So he's
If you
still
wanna-
doing both, but YouTube's got to be like worried a little bit because all these guys, like these are big guys, they're all going to Rumble. Like it
Yeah,
might be a
but-
slow build, but like
It's gonna be a slow build.
they still gotta,
YouTube is
they still
YouTube,
gotta
right?
like they still
They're
gotta,
not scared, bro. They got enough fucking.
No, and I know they have a like lefty content creators that are gonna like continue to make bullshit content, but I'm just saying, like, if you have to remember too, when you look at an audience, for example, too, and who purchases things, who buys things,
Yeah.
right? In my honest opinion, most of the people who are far left, I never met one that's rich, that has money, that spends money. Most of the far lefts I know are broke.
Unless they're the leaders of the Black
And you
Lives
guys can
Matter.
come at me if you want. Show me a rich one. Show me someone that makes money that's a far left. Most of the people I know that spend money are conservatives.
Yeah.
That's a hot take, baby.
They're buying shit.
They're buying shit.
They're selling
And they actually buy shit if they fuck with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they support you. Yeah.
Where you know, I don't know if the lefties, are you guys doing that out there? If you're even watching this, I don't think lefties watch you.
I don't think so.
There's one out there. Let me know if you have money at least.
Yeah. No. don't
Am
know
I
what they're
talking
doing.
shit?
I don't know what they're doing.
Every time I see like a crazy lefty, or I know a crazy lefty.
I don't even think they know what they're doing. But
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. So you really want an audience of people that don't buy shit?
When the broad has hairy armpits,
You're buying off
That's
her?
the new wave.
That's when you're done, dude.
You're buying off her?
That's when it's like,
No, you're talking about these people on the bicycles right now, running
they're
with
saving
their
the
with their
environment,
green
yeah.
hair. You're telling me that person makes loot?
I don't think so, bro.
No.
Unless they're virtue. Like there's that.
There's
oh,
no
look
way.
at me, I'm a good person, but really they're doing some.
yeah,
shit.
but they're broke.
But they're broke.
yeah.
They're usually broke, unless I'm just speaking of downtown,
No, they are. They all are. They're
because
all
they have
the
a
same.
broke
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah,
it's broken.
There's one way of thinking.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you: who would you rather have as your audience, conservatives or liberals?
Of course.
Okay,
He didn't even answer. He just said, "Of course,
Yeah, you.
right?
of course."
Well, I think people like if they resonate with your message, based on your values, right?
Yeah, but you're going to resonate with
teaching kids
Who's-
about
no,
anal
who's-
sex.
I don't even know who to think about, like H3.
Oh man,
that guy's a
he's
loser,
the
bro.
worst,
Give a
bro.
But I'm saying like okay, like people who watch H3, you think there's like a loaded businessman watching H3 and be like, yo, I fuck with
it's
this
a lot of
guy.
resentment, bitter individuals.
It's people that hate other people, they hate their own
They
lives.
hate the guys that work out because they don't want to work out.
Because they don't want to work out, they want everyone to be fat.
Yeah, exactly.
H3,
Yeah.
that's one show.
There's
He
the
doesn't have
other
to
guy
worry
too.
about getting canceled, but he has to worry about probably like heart disease
Yeah, 100%.
because he's huge.
A lot of other things. Yeah.
He blew up. He blew up from something called Vape Nation. That was his thing.
That's crazy. That's
I don't even know what that is.
vape.
the left.
I don't know. That was like his thing. Was like Vape Nation. So they were just like smoking
So he fits
vapes.
the bill. He fits the bill.
So
perfect.
speaking of a guy like H3, though, like probably the most unmasculine guy that you could probably think of.
Yeah.
I want to talk about
He's up there.
masculinity in general with you guys.
Yeah.
Because I have this theory that I think that, like, one of the big problems with society today is that we're losing real men.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that plays into a lot of it. You saw it through COVID. Andrew Tate, you mentioned Andrew Tate. He brought up a good thing. He's like, I would argue that every household where the woman is dominant, everybody's vaccinated. And it's a good point because I know quite a bit of it too. But just men's inability to make their own decisions, to have courage.
That's pretty interesting. I never heard that, but that
Yeah, well-
now that I think about all the households that are triple vaxxed, that I
woman is
know
more
at
dominant.
least.
Maybe
they know it's a woman-dominated household. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe the man took her last name and shit. You don't know. Like there's a whole.
That's embarrassing.
There's a whole. It happens.
embarrassing.
That's the woman. By the way, if
happens a
you
lot.
wife a shorty, and if you wife a shorty and she doesn't take your last name,
She doesn't even want to be
you're a
with you.
pussy, bro. Straight up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about with you too, is that masculinity, and then that too. Firstly, that's happening a lot more than you would think, eh?
I swear I seen
Like
a video. or
hyphenated-
some shit.
Men's are cucks.
Hyphenated names and shit.
Listen. If she
You know
wants
what
to,
I looked at that
if
as?
she wants to keep hers, but then like have like whatever the hyphenated, I don't mind the hyphenated. But bro,
That's happening a lot.
I know
No, there's
people.
dudes taking straight names.
But I know people personally where the girl doesn't take the last name.
Yeah.
So what the fuck are you talking
You know
about?
what I look at that is like ultimate like disrespect.
It's the most
Yeah.
disrespectful
It's like the
thing, bro.
ultimate disrespectful
To a
thing.
man, it's like, bro, I'm here committing to like lose my life to
I'm gonna
protect you. If
protect you.
somebody
I'm gonna look
broke
after
into this
you.
house or approach us on the street, I would take a bullet for you.
yeah, yeah.
You know, in marriage, that's some of the things that you commit to. And the bitch won't even take your fucking last name. Bro, that's when you just cut it right there, bro.
Yeah, most
you
men
cut it.
don't, and I think there's a problem with that. And I think that they're afraid to be alone. There's a lot of different components.
Afraid to
So
be
let's get into it. What do you guys think the problem is with masculinity and shit that's going on right now?
Well, bro, listen.
There's so much. It's
there's
long-winded,
so much. There's so many things to say. But like, obviously, if we're gonna talk about the media world and the content and the way things are going, I mean, look, certain content gets pushed above other content. We spoke about this. I've said this on a podcast before. We spoke about it with Nima yesterday.
Oh yeah.
How like, bro, if you're a dude, you put a fucking dress on, it's a guarantee that you're on the For You page and that your content's gonna get pushed.
There's a push for it.
It's guaranteed. If you're a guy talking about you gotta have strong values, family, blah, 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 all the masculine things that we speak about, bro, it is so much harder for you to get on the For You page. I have one video on my IG that went viral, has 1.1 million views, okay?
That's awesome.
It has 100,000 shares. Bro, if you look at other creators who have like 15,000 shares, they have like 10 million views. So although my content's getting, that video got shared 100,000 times, it still didn't make it didn't catch the algorithm where I should have at least 10 million views on that video. Whereas that's what I'm saying. If you look at these like super lefty creators, they'll have a fraction of the shares, a fraction of the engagement, but views through the roof. What people don't realize is that literally the machine, the algorithm is actually pushing a certain type of content. So it's harder for these masculine creators, let's say, or these good, creators with good value who are preaching good, strong messages. Their content's just not being seen.
100%.
So it's like, as much as we're like, yo, there's not enough of us, maybe there actually is, but we're not getting pushed the same way.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're it's literally like rage against the machine.
Yeah.
It's what these fucking punk rock bands were fucking talking about 20 years ago in their music. We're literally fighting the algorithm to get a strong message across.
Yeah.
And then that's why when you have those few creators who manage to break through, Andrew Tate, Nima, whatever, any of these guys, they end up getting shadow banned. Why'd you take him off why'd you take Andrew Tate off Instagram? Like, why?
He didn't post anything on there that was against the rules.
There's no reason. But again, because it's just blatant, it's
suppression of his voice.
It's blatant oppression of his message.
Yeah, that's what it is.
See what I'm saying? So it's like, we're okay to have women shaking their asses, having songs about lick my coochie, lick my ass crack. Let's promo the fuck out of that. God forbid, Buddy says, stop being a lazy bitch, go to the fucking gym, find yourself a good woman, build a family and work hard. It's like, all of a sudden, it's like, Buddy, cancel that guy, take him off the fucking platform. So it's like, now I think about it, I'm like, yo, maybe there actually is way more of us than we know.
There is. There's a lot of people that agree with that.
Than we know, but even if they created content about it, they're not getting views. So it's like, if you're a creator who has those values and you're like, I'm gonna start today making content. You make 100 pieces of content, none of them do well, you stop. So they're almost like doing it in a way where it's like, even if you think you're gonna try and make content about that, you motherfucker, we're not gonna put you on the For You page. We're not gonna put you on the Explore page. You're gonna get no love. We're gonna literally suppress your content to the point where you have no motivation to continue creating. Vice versa, you're a dude, cut your dick off, wear a dress, grow your fucking long hair, paint your nails. In your first 5 videos, you're gonna have a viral piece of content. Now you're gonna just keep creating that type of content. So you're literally rewarding it.
Yeah, and I think that you're 100% right, because I think there is a deeper meaning on why they're suppressing that and encouraging one thing. There's like a motivation behind it. They're after the strong man. They're after that masculine man. They're trying to demonize him. Like guys like you, guys like me, they're trying to not encourage that and then remove that message, because I think it's like a deeper attack at like the nuclear family. I think it's like really deep into, they want to suppress the man to an extent where there's absolutely there's no idea of what we should aim towards on how to be a man. And what's important.
if you want to, like, if you don't want the people to revolt, turn them into feminine sheep.
Yes.
It's that simple.
And I think we've seen that.
So remove the masculine man, or don't give him a voice at least. And then that creates a feeling of like, where we're all sitting here saying there's not enough of us. Again, there probably is, but we don't get to see each other online where we mainly connect. This isn't the fucking 1700s where we're sitting in taverns and fucking, you know what I mean, crashing fucking beer bottles. It's like, or whatever. It's like beer mugs. It's like, we find our people online. We find our tribe online. Suppress one side, you feel like your tribe's not there anymore. You lose all motivation to revolt.
Yeah, big time. And
so that's the only way we get out of this, and we hold, let's say, governments accountable, and these politicians accountable, is you need some sort of revolution to some extent. But perfect way to stop that happening is make masculine men feel like there's not enough of us around, so they can't congregate and start building plans to revolt. In whatever way that they plan to do. I'm not saying it's going to be like, the 1800s where you storm the fucking Capitol or whatever, but in a way, it's like you can't find your tribe. If you can't find your tribe, you feel hopeless. You feel like you have nobody. Then you're just at home by yourself, this lonely guy who's like, fuck, like who thinks like me? Like, is there anybody?
Listen, the perfect example. I hate to always bring up the pandemic, but it's a perfect example. How many guys do you see that had their tail between their legs and that didn't speak up, aside from social media, even like in family conversations, or just have the courage enough to be like, I'm not going to do X, Y, Z. I think that this is actually corrupt. And I think what's happening right now is probably going to be known as one of the most corrupt times in history. And I am going to speak for myself and for my family or for who I am, and I don't agree with this. I'm not going to do this. You didn't see too many guys like us that were doing that.
No, there was a lot of guys who I'll even speak to like people in my family or just guys that would reach out to us who were just like, I go to family events or whatever, and like I'm sitting there, the only guy thinking this is fucked, but I don't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And my response always to that was like, bro, do you have any dignity? Like, who are you as a human if you can't even speak your truth?
In times of struggle, you find out who you are. Yeah. And I think we saw that men lack courage in that situation. I really like spent a lot of time trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
Why? You have a voice, bro. Speak up. Who cares what? Some people aren't going to like you. Have some courage in your voice, and then whatever. Even if you look like an idiot, fuck it, bro. You at least had the balls to say something. You didn't just go, okay, what's next? Okay, I'll put that in. Okay, I'll get my next shot.
But imagine that being an excuse, like, oh, I'm not gonna say that to my family because they might not like me. What the fuck are me and this guy supposed to say? When thousands of people listening to us. Come on,
you gotta have
like
courage.
when someone says that, I'm kind of just like, well, who the fuck are you to begin with?
Right.
You really think that many people care about you? Like maybe your mom, if your mom stops fucking with you because you're telling the truth, you gotta get a new mom.
Get vaxxed?
You gotta get a new mom.
Yeah.
Right. But I think, dude, a lot of people. First of all, if they knew and they didn't say anything, that's even worse.
Yeah.
I actually don't even know which one's worse. If you didn't know or if you knew and didn't say anything. Because if you didn't know,
then you're like, well, where were you sleeping?
Where are you at? What country are you in?
No, but we had some boys who knew and still did it.
Yeah.
Like knew to the point of like sitting in here having conversations with us like, this thing's fucked, this thing's crazy, blah, blah, blah. I would never put this jab in my arm. That's insane. What's inside that? The government, fucking this, elites, and then they got double vaxxed.
I mean, you gotta.
I'm like, bro, what?
Yeah.
Well, bro, the thing is like I needed to travel.
They didn't even travel. You know how many people said, I'm going to travel, I'm going to get it so I can travel. They didn't travel.
But think about this. If you're willing to bend over you going to Punta Cana for a fucking
there
week,
you go.
then what
You're
kind
a
of spine
loser.
do you have as
You're
a
a
man?
loser.
Really?
See?
Like,
there
this
you
is
go.
what I'm
There
trying to
you
say.
go. Your whole life revolves around a fucking Punta Cana
you
all
can't
inclusive.
sacrifice a year or 2 years. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong. It was hard. And then when I did go away, it felt fucking good. And I blamed obviously the liberals for that because they were a big part of it. But it's just like, guys, we're lacking courage as men. And I think that is why there's such a starvation for this red pill conversation, for this Andrew Tate, for these conversations of masculinity and femininity. And I think there's a real market for it.
But we need to be careful though, because there are a lot of red pill creators who take it too far, okay? Who are saying shit that is destructive at the same time.
Like who? Do you have like an example of like someone you think that's too fried?
Bro, like any of these guys, bro, like even the Fresh and Fit guys.
I feel like they're not fair because they bring on the dumbest girls.
Yeah, but
they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
No. They're smart in the sense of
what
like.
am I gonna get from this Miami bird with like she looks like a duck? What am I gonna get from her, bro?
You know, they're smart in the sense of like, yeah, do it in a way where you know how to get views. That's one thing. But then again, it goes back to like the principle of like what you're talking about. So it's like, okay, those guys, they're very dramatic. I find that Myron's actually pretty educated. I think he's a pretty smart dude. And the one thing I respect is I feel like he's probably the same off camera as he is when he's on camera. I've heard that he is. I don't know, but I would imagine that. But, you know, they just take it far. Like, okay, if the broad sitting in front of you is fucking retarded, that's one thing. Doesn't mean you yell, though. Like, I think, like, yelling at women is one of the most embarrassing things you can do. And I've seen them do it.
It goes hard.
Bitch, shut up. Get the fuck out of here. It's like, yeah, these little incels that are watching you, like now you're teaching them to like yell at women, even if it's somebody that they should be respecting. You see what I'm trying to say? So there's a balance of like, yes, understanding being masculine and knowing your worth and being smart and being able to have combative conversation or let's just call it a debate.
Right.
But there's a difference between like, you don't like what someone said or you think they're stupid or they said something stupid. Doesn't mean you start yelling at them, you dumb bitch, like, no. Or even like if any of those girls on that podcast, for example, were like, I don't know, Myron or Fresh, you guys are fucking stupid. It's like, that doesn't just open the door for you to start screaming and start calling them names too. Dumb bitch, this and that, get the fuck out of my room. It's like, bro, you should be teaching men like how to respond to somebody who talks to you like that, which should be like with patience. Not to say that I'm perfect, that I've never done that. Of course I have. But like, you build a platform around it. Now it's like, oh, fuck, if I don't yell at these women and make them look stupid, I don't have viewers. So now you've built this like show on this like extreme red pill vibe. You see what I'm trying to say?
It starts from a good place, but it ends in a bad one.
Well, because then you start chasing views.
Yes, and that's what's
and
happening.
start chasing viral.
And a lot of the guys, like
moments.
you said, the incels and stuff. Like I think the message behind Andrew Tate is good because what he says is like build yourself up as a man to then be able to have the access to resources and then have the courage to speak.
I think all of the red pill creators, if that's what you want to call them, they all start with that intention.
Okay.
Like let's help men become more masculine, have better have better ethics and morals and all that stuff. But then the problem is you start chasing views. And you start chasing views, and now all of a sudden you're doing things that you don't necessarily truly believe in, or you're acting a certain way for the camera. Yeah, you get lost in the sauce a bit, right? And I'm not saying, I can't fully say that that's them. I don't know. Like I said, maybe they are like that outside of the camera. I don't know them personally, so I don't know. But I just have a feeling when I watch some of these clips and then some of these podcasts or whatever, that a lot of these red pill guys are being extra and dramatic for the camera.
Yeah, there's a motivation behind it.
It's personal gain, which is then like, that's not long-term thinking, that's short-term. Let me get as many views as possible, make as much money as possible, and then whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
But again, like I think the people forget that, like, I believe you have a moral obligation for the people watching you to try and give them good information or teach them valuable things. If you start building an audience, especially an audience of that size.
Right.
You should, I believe it's a personal thing. I think should you have a moral obligation to like move as a respectable person.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
100%.
In all ways.
Yeah.
So I think, there is that starvation, to circle back. There is that starvation for like red pill creators, but even those red pill creators, I think they got to be more careful with their message when they get to a certain size, right?
Yeah, there's more of a starvation precisely for like just that masculine role, it seems.
Yeah,
because
the energy. Yeah.
Our culture is doing so much, like we just touched on, to suppress that. So when there is this little beacon of hope, young men especially are like, that's what I want resonate with. Yeah, like I don't want to wear a dress and dance around on stage and be flamboyant and think that that's something that is going to get me attention. I actually resonate with this. I actually want to go. That's why I think there's a market for it. But even on those red pill guys, a lot of the things I want to this is like kind of like a little sidetrack, but I want to get your guys' opinion on it. A lot of the things they say is like they justify cheating on their girls a lot. They say like you get to a certain point and then I can understand their message a little bit, like, okay, you have you're providing for them. They don't work. They don't do this. So if they want to bang a girl every now and again, like it is what it is. Do you guys have an opinion on that? Do you think that that's justified, or do you think like a monogamous relationship is probably optimal?
I think a lot of the audience that's listening to these guys, listen, the guys that are saying it, they're in a much different position than
that's
the people
what I always
listening.
highlight. You have to highlight that.
You have to realize that,
Yeah,
right? So when you hear Sugar Sean talking about it, it's Sugar Sean.
It's a negotiated open relationship.
Of course. And he found a woman that agrees with those terms.
Right.
And they're clearly happy. They're clearly fine from what we see.
And he's the chap now. Shout out to Sugar Sean.
Right? I mean, that's just like, for me, that stuff is like extra clickbait, you know, where it's like, oh, what did he just say? You can cheat on your wife and it's okay.
Yeah. Because then there's like regular guys.
But there's so many girls out there. There's so many females out there that will go out and say, oh, well, I'll cheat on my man too.
Right.
But we don't bash them. Right. But as soon as a guy says it, right now, listen, I don't believe in cheating. I don't think that you should cheat on people. But if you find someone and you're a person that needs multiple women and your woman agrees to that,
yes,
it's your business.
Fair enough.
It's both of your businesses. Now, if you're going to preach it to guys to be that person where, oh, you should be a man that has multiple wives, or you should be a man that can cheat on his girl. Bro, you got to be rich as fuck.
Yes.
You got to be powerful as fuck.
And those are the ones who are doing that. But
of course. And when you get there, you might think differently too. But
exactly.
but to tell a 14-year-old that,
like,
what's he going to know?
Yeah.
Now he's going to think, oh, if I have my girlfriend when I'm 15, I'm going to cheat on her.
And it's not a big deal.
Like, bro, okay, cool. But that's not what they mean. They're using it. Those guys use it as a power play.
Yeah.
Like, look how powerful I am. I can cheat on my girl. But again, go back to it. It's their business if they want to do it. If they promote it to people, listen, at the end of the day, there's information coming out about everything. You know, you can find girls saying it about guys. You can find guys saying it about girls.
Yeah.
You have to be smart with what you consume. But do I think it's wrong that they're coming out and saying it? I mean, I've come on this podcast and said fuck shit too.
Yeah.
You got to be smart too. There's a lot of information out there. And if you're going to, what I like to do is I like to do this. I like to pick the people I like to listen to and take things that I like from each of them. Not take their whole message and say, now I'm just a junior Tate.
100%.
Now I'm just a junior this guy, junior Elon Musk, whatever the fuck, whoever you like, right? But Yeah, when it comes to that, like I'm indifferent. I think that there's guys that are able to do it with a woman that agrees to it. Because, dude, you go talk to some of these guys' wives, they'll be like, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what are you gonna say?
It's a conversation they have.
How are you gonna bash the guy after?
Yeah. You can. It's something that they agreed upon in their relationship.
There you go.
If that's what, it wouldn't work for me. I'll tell you that.
There's people it doesn't work for.
Either way, like
there's
I
people
wouldn't
it
be able
doesn't
to.
work for, and obviously that's very untraditional.
Yes.
I mean, depends how far back you go, because you can go way back, and then all of a sudden, everyone had 3 wives
Yeah,
again.
a lot of conquerors or like leaders, they always had multiple partners.
Right?
Yeah.
So, dude, is it that crazy that these guys are coming on and knowingly saying this stuff, knowing it's gonna get the views and clipped, and boom, now it's on this platform, etc. They're smart, bro. They're smart. Can everyone listening to them follow those footsteps? No, because you need certain resources to do that.
Yes.
And also you need a partner that's going to agree to that.
100%.
So all of a sudden you have to be in the top tier, the top 1% of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
But not average, bro.
Not everybody.
Nobody going to work on Eglinton and Dufferin in the morning and then going home at night is trying to implement that in their life.
You would hope not.
With all due respect, bro. Like that's just what it is. Any average person is not doing that. Any of us here is not doing that. I just went to the extreme to explain, like that's part of the audience, right? You never know who your audience is, and it's like, okay, you can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, they can walk around saying it, doesn't mean that they can actually live that life.
Yeah. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
What do you think,
I mean, I've toyed around with this thought and this ideology and this way of thinking with a lot of my buddies, just always just curious. That's what we just chill and we just talk about shit like this and just try to come up with like our thoughts and
Let me
whatever.
say something quick.
Yeah.
In my opinion, women will always try to look for better. Generally, that's what they're built to do, right? So if you're a guy that's not the best he can be, and you try to pull that one on your relationship, she's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Especially if she's good looking and she has something.
Well, even if she's not, she could be whatever she wants nowadays, dude, and she'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah, it's
She
true.
can move along.
There's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
I've toyed around with it, and I think it's tough for me to say what's optimal and what's not optimal. I'm also only 27, so I don't have the answers at all. I've seen people at older ages moving a certain way. I've seen people younger than me move a certain way. So it's hard for me to say. I don't have a defined answer yet on like, do I believe it's more optimal to be traditional and, you know, with one partner or whatever, or if I believe it's more optimal to be able to fool around. I would definitely say that if I was going to go that route of like having multiple people or whatever, like an open relationship, I could only do it where it was one-sided. Like I could never have my girl doing it.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah, but you have to be a certain type of guy
well,
to
She would have
achieve
to
that.
agree with that.
Well,
You have to have resources. There's certain things that you bring
yeah.
to the
Like
table.
I think whenever I have that convo and this debate with people, I always say if it's gonna be like, let's say a couple decides to do the like one-sided open relationship, you like for the man, let's
like
say,
sugar.
yeah, like a Sugar Sean thing. I mean, essentially, it's like it becomes a thing of like, okay, who are you? What do you bring to the table? Right? What's your value? How high value are you? And then it just becomes a thing of like, on top of that, it's like, you know, I try to think like, at a certain level, do you like, you know, when you become so powerful in whatever respect, money, influence, whatever, they usually go together. Like, do you have different rules? Like, do you get to live by different rules than the average people? I don't know. Like, these are just all thoughts that I've had in my head and that I've spoken about. So it's tough for me. I can't necessarily say what's optimal. I don't know, but I do agree that if you're a guy and you're gonna try and go that route where like I can fuck around and you can't, like the guy speaking to his woman, like you better bring a lot of value to the table. Like you said, you can't just be a regular dude straight up. That's the only thing I've been able to formulate until this point.
Which is fair, which is a fair
Yeah.
point. I think that underneath that message that they're giving, I think it's that. I think it's they're providing, usually the girl doesn't work. So they're providing them with finances, resources, everything under the sun. So then they establish this agreement that.
And I don't know, but I would imagine that guys who are in that type of position where it's like, I can fuck around, you can't, but I pay for everything and all that, and I take care of you, and I give you emotional love and whatever. I also imagine that these guys aren't like having 50 girlfriends or even one other girlfriend like when Sugar was talking to us about it, he was just saying, it's just like, yo, if I'm like ever out with the boys and like something happens, then it just kind of is what it is. It's not like, oh, I'm trying to go out there and find other partners or find other people to fuck or whatever. It's just like, if I'm out with the boys one night, whatever, I'm training in Vegas and then we go out after or whatever, like, and something happens and like, it is what it is. But I don't think these guys are actually going and trying to like have gumas, you know, like it's the fucking Sopranos. I think they're just like, whatever, if something happens, it happens. But it's not like, oh, I'm actively trying to go do this. Again, I'm imagining, I don't know. Like I'm thinking that that's how these guys move.
I would think so too. Do you think there's a morality aspect to it? Like what's right and what's wrong? Or it depends on the...
You've been taught that though.
But what's right and wrong in a relationship, like morally speaking?
Dude, it's just been like if you go back in time, you can go back as you want. Even if you go back 40 years when our grandparents first came here, the way that families moved and everyone moved at that point is, bro, if there was someone rich as fuck, he was going to his family, then he would leave and go have an affair. That was happening. Now it's just mainstream where people are trying to promote it and say, well, you know what, you can't have another girl. Dude, kings had fucking how many wives? 8, 9 wives, 10
But they
wives?
were kings.
But they were kings. So here's the thing. So for a guy to have his pick and have the options, he has to be in the top 1%. If you're not in the top 1, if you're in the 99%, now you get picked. You see the difference? If you're in the top 1%, you're doing the picking. You're saying, okay, you come with me. This is how I roll. I like to have sex with multiple people. You're okay with that? If not, beautiful, we'll go to the next one. But that's only because he's in the top 1%. Every other guy, he's most likely gonna get chosen. The woman says, yes, you're the man for me.
On it, brother.
She's the one who signs
She's
off.
selecting, yeah.
Right? So why does no one talk about that?
Yeah, it's much...
Why does no one talk about that? So you're telling me once I get to that 1% and I'm able to call the shots like that, I'm not able to? So you rather have me in the 99% being just like thrown around between girls climbing up the ladder and getting a better guy every time? How about that guy?
It's much harder for a man to sleep with a woman than it is for a woman to sleep with a man.
All day.
That's just
all
facts.
day,
That's
right?
just straight
And
facts.
but here's another
And
thing
that's
too.
where the double standards come in. Well, why can a man do it? Well,
And this is debatable
just
too.
that is the simple...
This is debatable too, but you can go ahead and say men and women are two different species. If you look at how animals act, if you look at, we're an animal. What do animals do? They fuck everything. A male lion will go around the jungle all day and fuck every female he sees. That's an animal. Are we not animals? There's no animals I seen get married before in my life. I never seen it.
I want to talk to you guys about that.
I never seen a family of animals. The father, the mother, the kids stay together their whole. I never seen it. This is something that has been taught to us. You have to remember. Now, do I think it's great? Yeah, I think it's great. Families are great. Having all that stuff is great. But at the end of the day, if you're a person that wants to decide to live another way and you have the means, go crazy. Because the same people judging you are the same people that they don't have the means.
And they hate
Or
their
they're
life.
above you and they've been doing that already.
Yeah.
They already been doing it. Anyone who's up there making those choices, they're not judging anyone.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we're all doing this shit together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I saw
100%.
Andrew Schultz the other day. He said something about these billionaires, bro. Did you see that clip? He's talking about like billionaires that we know, like household names. And he's saying that they pretty much pay you. They can pay any girl. Like you're talking about like Vogue models. You're talking about Playboy, Victoria's Secret. No problem. They just pay him. They pay him a dollar amount that they can't say no to.
Yeah.
So who you want? Adriana Lima, 500K, no problem.
They can make it happen because they got the resources.
So these guys are doing that, and then they're mad at Andrew Tate.
Yeah, there's that level of it. Though. I don't
Come
even know if I
on.
would want to be a part of that. To think that your girl can be bought.
Well, that's the part too, right?
Yeah.
It's just fucked, right? But
crazy.
I think that people are now in this world where those are sad realities, we call them.
Yeah.
Your girl can be bought.
Yeah.
That's a sad reality. So guess what guys do? I'm not saying your girl, bro. Get
Of
the
course,
fuck out of here.
of course. No,
I'm
of
saying
course,
in
yeah.
general.
Yeah, in general, yeah.
Your woman can most likely be bought.
Yeah.
So now as a male, you're going to move different. You're going to move like, you know what, bro? All right, that's how things work around here. Then I'm going to be the man.
I wonder if Logan Paul knows this.
Yeah, right.
He's still learning. He's
Guy
still
doesn't know
learning.
nothing.
It's a whole other conversation.
He's still learning.
But just touching on relationships too. You guys always go back and forth about the relationships aspect, like because you're in one and Ernesto, if you're single, right?
Yeah.
So like, I love the banter that you guys have on it. And like, just to touch on it a bit, what's your perspective on relationships? Do you think it's optimal to be in one, or does it matter on the situation? What's like your opinion on it?
You go first, bro.
It's yeah, I mean, it just depends on the position. Two things: the position you're in life, And when I say that, I mean like, are you just a comfortable guy? You're okay with whatever. You're just down to just like whatever 9-to-5 guy, which again, nothing wrong, but that's just your lifestyle. Cool. Okay. You want a partner, someone to spend your time with and whatever. You want someone who's just going to give you emotion, affection, and all that. Someone to fuck on the regular, hopefully make you food. 9 times out of 10, guys are cucks. They're making their own food and cleaning their own house, but whatever. Then like, yeah, then I mean, there's not really a right or wrong time to be in a relationship. If we're speaking to hustlers, guys who are entrepreneurs, want to build something special, build a legacy of some sort, then it also depends on what kind of guy you are and what relationship you're getting yourself into. So if you're in a relationship where, I think actually I would say this, it just really depends. Like here's the key. When you're going to get into, as a hustler or an entrepreneur or somebody like that, if you're going to get into a relationship or you're thinking about it because you found someone you like, whatever you like spending time with and you align to some extent, you just got to set boundaries. Like, yo, these are the rules. It's like he said, when you are in the 1%, or let's say you're on your way to that 1%, if you're going to have a partner, it just needs to be very clear. Like, hey, these are my rules. This is how much time I need to myself. I'm going to be traveling a lot. I'm going to be doing this a lot. I'm going to be all over the place. I can't commit to giving you every night on the phone from 6 to 10. I can't commit to this many dates a week and this and that. And it's just it's a very simple thing. I think people forget, like, because when emotions get involved, people get all like trippy, but relationships are a transaction. I give you this in the relationship and you give me this. It's like business. Don't get into a fucking business deal that is not going to benefit you. So yeah, can relationships benefit an entrepreneur and a hustler? They can. But you got to make sure that the terms are in your favor when you get into that business relationship.
I think a lot of men are scared to even have that conversation.
They won't even do it.
But the thing is, but this is the problem.
Because they won't do it because they're afraid the girl's going to leave right off the bat.
But what I see,
they're afraid to be alone.
So then they just
but what I see what happens a lot of time is they get into the relationship without setting the standards and setting the terms of the business deal. And then they want to try and implement them 4 years later.
Yeah.
It's like, no, implement them day one so that the next 4 years are great. If you don't implement them day one, don't get into it at all. So yeah, I listen, I'm not going to say there's a better or worse way to do it. We're all human. We all have different feelings, emotions, and things. Certain things drive us more than others.
Right.
But if you're going to do it, again, it's a business deal. It's a transaction. I give you this, you give me this. And if that's the situation and you can understand that that's how relationships work, set your terms and be stern in what those terms are. Because listen, yeah, maybe the first 3 women aren't going to like your terms, but the 4th one might be okay with it. Right? And that's the other thing. Guys get nervous, like you said. Oh, the first broad that you give the terms to, she's like, no, fuck you. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to lose her though. It's like, brother, at the end of the day, she just has a vagina. There's a million other vaginas just in Vaughan alone.
That's why they're not confident.
In Mapoli. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. They're not confident.
They're not confident in themselves. They don't know how to be alone. That's a big, I think
that's a huge thing too, bro. You have to be able to, especially as a man.
And they're dependent on it too. I think a lot of men are dependent on external things, like even if it is a girl, sleep, or like just being able to sleep with a girl. A lot of men can't even go like a month. If you can't go a month without sleeping with a girl, where you're to the point where you're getting
a fucking porn star.
What's wrong? Well, you can't sacrifice a bit or whatever, to the point where I'm gonna be in a relationship where this girl is so bad
but
that I'm gonna
to have
just do
sex,
it.
like
just
to
get
my dick wet. Like bro, go to the fucking rub and tug at that point, or just rub one out. Like, how many times have you guys stopped yourself from making a stupid decision by just jerking off?
I should do it much more.
What's your opinion on it, Ernesto? What do you think? Is it optimal? Does it matter? Does it need to be the right person?
No. I think it can work. It could help you, or it can make it worse too. Like it can do both.
100%.
I've seen it do both. You know. I think a lot of guys don't want to have that conversation that he's talking about because they're scared that the woman will not be down, and then they lose that woman. My issue with that is that why is that the only woman you can get?
Or why does it need to be her?
We know it needs to be her because you're scared you can't get another one. Why can't you get another one?
Well, the social pressure too, like you said. Oh, bro,
all
my boys are getting married, bro.
No, but
I'm saying, but that's how guys move. That's how these guys are moving.
Go make some fucking money.
Yeah, facts.
Get in the fucking gym. Put on some nice clothes. Go get yourself a fucking haircut. Speak with your chest. And that one girl that said no to your terms, you won't care.
But there's work there.
But then don't complain.
Yeah, exactly.
But then don't complain because you didn't put in the work to be able to have opportunities to open doors for many different women to come and see if she was the one. The problem is these guys, they say, oh, well, I found one. This is probably the best I can get. This is the best I can get. So if I lose her, I'm fucked. So let's just do what she says, boys. Let's just do what she says.
Or they list like the one or two
Guess
things
what?
that
She's
are
still
positive.
going to leave.
Yeah.
She's still dipping.
Well,
Just
she
not yet.
And also, low key, she doesn't actually respect you either.
Of course.
Because if as a man, if a woman sees that you're bending and backwards,
Well,
and you're
think about
saying,
this.
"Yeah, you
How's
got
the
no
relationship
spine."
going to start if you're trying to set your standards as a man, and then the woman says, you know what? I don't think we're going to do that. And then you say, okay. She knows she's getting into a relationship with the fucking
She
pillow,
got the pants. She got the pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
I
a
think a
pillow.
marker for like success or what men look for, number one is respect. And I see a lot of
Respect and loyalty.
Yeah, respect and loyalty.
Guys are most scared of girls leaving them for a next dude. That's dude's number one. Unless you guys have another one.
No, that's
Guys. The guys fear the girl leaving. That's it.
But if you're confident in being alone or whatever it may be, or because you've been
But
there,
we're
you know
not
what
talking
to
about
do.
guys that are comfortable.
Okay, okay.
We're talking about guys that
Because
it
if that
happens
happens,
to.
like it's okay. Back to the script. Let's go.
But you have to be super strong-minded to do that.
Yeah, that's why I think it's important. If you're a guy that's been in relationship after relationship,
No.
you should spend a little bit of time, go through some shit.
Yeah.
Be alone like on New Year's. Everybody's fucking busy and you're alone.
But you
Fucking
know-
feel
but
it a
you
bit
know what?
because
You
there
know
might be
what?
one day you might be there again.
Heck, you know what? I used to think that too. And my thing now is like, because I know guys that they go relationship to relationship.
Right. Is that how your guys' social
I
circle?
know,
have you
I know
seen
guys,
that
doesn't
too?
mean I agree with it. I know guys that do it. And I know guys that if they didn't do it, bro, they might have been suicidal.
Okay.
Like that's how weak men are today, is
But
what I'm
that's
trying to
heavy
say.
though. Yeah. Like
But
that
how
means
many-
you're dependent on another person forever.
Of course, but that's what they are. It's just a void that they're filling. It's not really about the person herself.
It is. That's what it is.
It's a
the
void, right? So when I see people bouncing between relationships, yeah, it's either like, okay, this person's just trying to find someone quick, or this person can't be alone, right? What? Even being
one
alone,
of
there's
the
only so long you want to do that too,
Right.
right? For me, I'm single, but I don't want to fuck things up.
But
Things
you've
have been
been
going
doing
good
work
for
on
me.
your, like you've already sharpened the tools. Like you're,
Yeah.
It's up to you now who you select.
Yes,
like,
yes,
you
but I'm just
select.
saying, like for me, like things are going so well for me that I don't like to add or remove things. When the minestrone tastes good, you don't have to put any more salt. You know what I mean? You don't have to put
love
any
that
more
analogy.
carrots. You know,
That's a
I never
good-
heard. That's crazy.
That's a good analogy.
right? So for me, it's like everything's going good right now. I'm not forcing nothing, bro.
Yeah.
I like the way my life's going. Business is going great. Things with my family are great. So for me, it's like unless something really catches my eye, I'm not trying to bring something. That's
What's your
gonna
will
fucking-
one day, Bello? 'Cause
Yeah,
you-
for sure,
like,
for sure.
It will
Yeah,
one day. It all
yeah,
comes to
yeah.
it. But then,
I'm not against like being in a relationship or being in a marriage. I'm not.
of course, which I want to talk about too, just quickly, because I know we're going a little bit here. I don't want
Yeah.
to take up too much of your guys' time. Marriage. What are your thoughts on marriage?
Like actually getting married.
Like actually getting married.
I'm like bouncing back and forth.
Like I said, a lot of boosters lately.
I give. I
it's
give
it's
about
so
it.
hard to like.
What do you
it's
think
so
about it?
hard to agree with it after the way we see everything nowadays. Like my parents are divorced. His parents are divorced. God knows who else his parents are divorced. You know what I mean? Everyone's parents are fucking divorced.
Marriage doesn't hold the same weight that it used to.
doesn't. It doesn't mean the same.
Before it was like you got married, it was like shameful to get divorced. So
Yeah.
you did everything in your power as a couple, as a married couple, to like work on it, to figure it out and stay together. Nowadays, people get divorced in 2 seconds.
It's another day. It's another Friday. Bello.
It's just like another relationship. So you're wasting all this time, all this energy, and making people fly around or come over here and spend the money and get the plates and get the boosters and get the fucking thing. It's like, bro, commitment's commitment. There's no ring you're gonna put on a fucking hand and some vows you're gonna say in front of some mort that's gonna make you more committed than you already are. For me, the biggest commitment to somebody is having a child with them. Because then that's like, okay, you have a child with a woman, whether you fucking hate her after, you're paying
connected for life.
child
You have a
support
kid.
forever. You're connected to that person forever. So for me, the biggest commitment to spending time with somebody or being committed to somebody is a child.
yeah.
Right.
I would
Marriage
agree- I
doesn't
would
hold
agree
the
with
same weight. It just doesn't.
So you don't think like, firstly, obviously from your guys' perspective, that's not something you'd like to explore then.
Like
Marriage
getting
in general.
married?
Yeah.
I give large about it, bro. I give large about marriage.
that. It would have to be like, yeah, it doesn't even make sense.
Just
The
doesn't
girl's gonna
even
have to
make
sign
sense.
a prenup now.
Yeah, I watched this amazing podcast with this divorce lawyer, and he talked about prenuptial agreements.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said, which to our point earlier, he's like, most people that he talks to, the guy's like, "Oh, I don't want to have that conversation." You're getting married to this girl. You don't have
but
a
you know
tough
how you know what happens
conversation.
to that guy? The girl leaves, takes half. This is the same guy that didn't have the conversation at the beginning of the relationship.
She takes half, leaves, starts fucking the bartender at the local
Yeah,
bar.
yeah.
Brings him home. He lives in the house that you're paying for. The kids come home. Oh, daddy's a fucking asshole. The kids start hating you, and you have nothing.
Yeah.
You're a fucking
Then jump.
Yeah.
Jump as far
Then you
jump,
jump
as fast
then
as
you
you
go
can.
to the bridge and you jump. So
Yeah.
marriage, it's an old school thing. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. People have different views on it, and whatever your view is, your view is. I think if the reason for marriage is commitment, there's so many other things that matter more in terms of commitment than a marriage. People are doing it for the show.
Yep.
People are doing it so their nonni can see them get married, walk down the
True.
aisle.
Hello, it's
But then
true.
again, who you
Can't
living
deny
for?
that.
And
Who
then
you
what?
living
And then
for?
what? They pass away, then you divorce?
Yeah, exactly. So congratulations. It's all fucked.
The statistic is like
It's 60%.
68,
It's scary right
63,
now.
I think.
Oh, it's going up.
I think
still?
it went up a bit over COVID.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is just US, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what he said. I think it was 63%.
So, bro,
Don't,
what are we
don't
talking
last.
about?
But I guess it depends on your values and tradition. And then last topic here.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, last topic is I have in religion. Is that something that resonates with you guys? What are your thoughts on religion? I don't know if I've ever heard you talk about it.
Yeah, we've been talking about it recently a little bit more.
Have you
right?
I've been
talking
trying to get back into it.
You gotta
I
tap- we
want to
gotta tap
explore
back
it.
in. Yeah,
I want to explore it. I want to explore my relationship with God a little more. I do.
Do you believe in God, or do you think it's like a universe thing?
I think it's
do you think
I
they're
think they're the
connected?
same thing.
I agree.
I think it's
I
the
agree.
same thing. It's just, what do you call God? People call it the universe. People call it Allah. People call it whatever. You know, there's so many different ways or names or representations of God. I think it's that part all stays the same. Yeah, and then it just mean in terms of like just getting back in touch with that. I'd like to. I'm trying to explore it a little bit
Like
more.
in what way? What way are you exploring?
Like yeah, like
praying?
I've put up like I put a story up not too long ago, being like just asking people like, yo, should I go back to church? Like anybody that goes, like give me like what's your experience, you know?
The interesting thing about church is I think you could separate church from religion in a way.
But it's a
'Cause
good,
like the
but it's
business
a,
side
but
of
it's a
it.
good
If you
way,
have to-
but it's
Yeah,
a
yeah, I
good
see what you're
way. It's a good way to reconnect. I think
It is.
I think.
I agree. No, I agree.
I don't know for sure again,
agree.
but
I
I
agree.
think it's a good way that if you're looking to reconnect, put yourself in a room where that's at the forefront.
Yeah, I
So
know,
I don't know. I think
100%.
so. But then yeah, also just like listening to podcasts, listening to people that I look up to, guys like PBD, where he's talking
He's
about
very
his
big on
relationship
God.
with God. We had Nima on yesterday. He was talking about his relationship with God. I'm seeing that a lot of guys are trying to bring that back. I think the rise of religion again, that's slowly happening, is because we're just trying to give people like better morals. Like we're trying to teach people better morals. I think that's what religion is. It's just a set of morals that are just like standard morals that you should have.
Right.
Don't kill, don't steal, you know, all these different things.
And it
right?
provides influence of what to aim towards. Like good. I think it's foundational. A lot of people argue. Like,
It is foundational.
A
Yeah.
lot of people argue like, oh well, you just know what's right and wrong. You can argue that. Like,
Well,
what do you
well, not
mean?
really,
How do
be-
you just
Well,
know?
right now
no, you
they think
can't.
it's right to chop off your dick at 6
Exactly.
years old.
And that's a
So-
perfect point, Ernesto, because what's replaced with religion is ideology.
Yeah.
That is a religion. I
is
think
a religion.
that's
It's
a
a cult,
fucking
bro.
religion. With that whole left wing, radical left way
people-
of thinking is
that's
a
the
religion.
stupidest thing I've ever. If someone says that they're fucking retarded, because
Well, that's the atheist premise. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, but you don't just know good from bad, because if you're literally born, the minute you're born, people tell you women are at a lower level than men, hate women all the time. If that's what you're raised on from literally one day old,
You're gonna think that's right.
that you're gonna all you know is that's the best way to live. That's what's right.
Yeah.
So bro, like there's nature, nurture. Nurture plays a massive role. So if nurture plays this massive role, let's just nurture people at least into good values.
Yes, and that's what you
So it's
extract from
foundational.
something like religion.
Yeah, not like, oh, bro, God, he actually turned rain into fucking wine or whatever the fuck it was. Like, you know what I mean? You just
Well,
gotta
there-
take the bits and pieces of it.
There
I
are
think
te-
that's
there's lessons from those teachings too that
Correct.
you can take. They're not supposed to necessarily take them literally, but I think it's a good foundation.
Yeah,
Brother. I think
yeah.
it's something good.
I think
especially for
also it's a moment to reflect, right? When you think of prayer and you think about going to church, a lot of people just do that to reflect
Yeah.
on their
Yeah.
life, you know? It's another form of meditation almost.
kids.
It
You've talked
is.
about
It
meditation.
is,
That
right?
is a religious experience if you think about it.
Well, it's the same thing.
you know, bro.
Right? When you go to church, the main point is to close your eyes and connect with your spirit and reflect, right? And a lot of people go to church, even people in my family I know, and they just go, they're not listening to the priest. They're just sitting there and they're thinking to themselves. So I think that's an important part of religion, because all religions have that. They have the self-reflection aspect, the prayer aspect, which I think that's even more important. I don't think nobody's reflecting right now on what they're doing with their life or what's going on in this world, right? So I think it's super important. Have I really tapped into the extreme? No. Do I want to get back into it because of this demonic world? For sure.
Yeah, and how there's a push for that too.
But yeah, I think I always try to reflect though. I always try to reflect. I think if people are thinking about religion, just try to sit down for 10 minutes and close your eyes and think. That's the first step, because
It's a
you're
great
gonna
piece of advice.
no matter what religion, it's gonna make you self-reflect. So start there.
Yeah, which a lot of people don't do.
No, they just think like like he said,
don't
it's
spend
the
time in your
Bible
thoughts.
and it's Noah's Ark and it's wine and it's the communion and it's the dude. Religion can mean what it means to you on your own, right? Like
Yeah.
if you have your own way of being religious or having a faith, go with that. But the most important thing I think with religion is reflecting.
Yes.
It's time to think. You know,
Yeah, prayer.
prayer, buddy. Just think
Because
about.
that's what it
think
is. If you think about it, prayer is that.
It's
It's
meditation.
self-reflection. You're praying to God, but you're talking to yourself.
You're talking to
too.
yourself,
Yeah.
man, right? And I
what
think
you're
that's a lot of what's missing right now, especially with the younger generation.
That's why they say God is in you. And
Yeah.
when you're saying those prayers, you're just talking to yourself, bro.
And
Right?
it's a good way to like categorize your thoughts and like see, because a lot of time you get lost in the thoughts of what you're thinking. But then when you take time to like, I'm dedicating this 10 minutes
That's
to
what I'm saying.
thinking or speaking.
And
about
then
this.
once you do dedicate that 10 minutes, let's say you are meditating, let's say you're gonna open up yourself more now. Now your mind gets more open. Now you're saying, oh, you know what? I will get more into the religion, or I'm.
Yeah.
But I think first things first, people just need to stop and think and reflect because I
Yeah.
think that's completely gone.
It starts there, bro.
We're all just robots right now, flying through the rat race.
Yeah, just absolutely.
Things are
the
happening
awareness
around.
is gone.
Oh, it's gone.
And I think that's a big part of why people they're just more of the same of the next. It's very rare that you see like guys like you that are sticking out.
They usually have the same characteristics or the same habits or the same beliefs. They usually do the same things in life. Go to the gym, go this, have a business, work, whatever.
Right. And that's why
There's usually a lot of
conversations-
similarities.
That's why conversations like this, I think, plant seeds that are beneficial for people. But listen, boys,
My
within
guy.
saying that, man, I don't know if you guys remember from the pod, but I always do the last segment as a big salute because that's how we do. We're
Oh,
talking-
listen, we got to salute forever,
we got to salute.
bro.
So,
Like, you understand?
if you guys want, I'm going to leave it to you guys. You want to say a quick salute, whatever it is that you want to say to end us off here, and then we'll wrap it up.
All right.
What do you got?
You want to go?
I'm gonna salute to anybody listening that made it this far. First of all, we appreciate you. Thank you. I know this is probably a long conversation,
I
but
know. Sorry, boys. I took us in the
no, it's
deep
okay.
waters.
No, it's good. It's good. But salute to anybody that's working hard, that's chasing anything, chasing a dream, a vision, a goal, whatever that may be, chasing personal happiness. If you're chasing something and you're working hard towards it, salute to you. Never give up. Sometimes the road gets fucking dark. It gets bumpy. Sometimes you're in reverse. You got to put it back and fucking drive. But nonetheless, if you're doing something, you're working hard towards some type of goal, salute to you. I hope it happens for you. And if you need any advice, DM us.
Let's
We'd be
go.
fucking more than happy to
Let's
to
go.
assist in any way we can.
Yeah.
Elevation up, elevation down.
That's
no?
it. Elevation up and elevation down. You never know which way it goes.
I'm going to give you a toast, Bello.
Salute,
This
Bello.
is to
Thank
you
Thank you.
for putting this pod together.
Yes.
For staying consistent with it.
Yep.
Try, Bello.
For giving people the real you.
Yes.
I think everyone that knows you appreciates you a lot.
Yeah.
You're a real one.
Thank
You're a
you,
genuine
Bello.
one.
I appreciate it.
Love you, bud.
Love you too.
Make
buddy.
sure you don't stop this pod because there's people that count on it.
Well, now I'm here, bro. Like,
Now
you know,
you're
we
here?
gotta go.
And
Make it happen.
keep speaking the truth, Bello.
I try, Bello.
One more salute.
Yes.
Salute to being the mayor of Mapoli.
Oh, Bello.
Come
Okay.
on,
Cue
bro.
the music. The fucking-
We got to get you that IG handle, eh?
Let's go, Mayor Mopley. That was granted by you guys. It's a big privilege. So shout out to Jay too. Listen, if the minestrone tastes good, don't add no more salt. That's the fucking lesson of today. I salute. I love you. Nobody else. We'll see you next time. Ciao.